What's up, everyone? Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Why can I hear me all? So, just for everyone's benefit, you guys, I still have not figured out how to get the comments to show up on YouTube, but we are also streaming live on Twitch. So, Friar Niki, if you were to ever post on through, what is this here? What are we doing? StreamYard onto this little post a comment here. I don't know if you can see my comments. It goes to Twitch, but doesn't go to the other ones. So I have no Twitch. I just got my Twitch. I have no views or subscribers, so don't worry about it. But I am just giving you a heads up.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Happy New Year, everyone. If you haven't figured out, I'm not feeling the best today, but I love you. And I'm literally here because I love you. And I just want you to know that. Because I could have just done nothing. I definitely could have just totally checked out. So today we are going to, I'm here with my very special co-hosts, Niki. Do you want us to call you Niki 10 or just Niki?
Niki's good. Niki's good. Yeah.
Niki and Friar Pesel.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have them introduce themselves here in just one second. But today we are going to do a forecast for, well, we're going to look at the world at large, but we're also, I believe, Niki and I are going to tag team a solar return for the United States, since most of the people we know are clearly in the United States, if you couldn't tell from the accent. So that should be fun. If you guys have questions or comments or questions or anything, definitely stick them in the chat. We're going to get to them.
Yeah.
I'm going to, because we'll probably be ranting. So if you can keep an eye out for actual questions, and because I don't know, I'll be able to skim today.
Okay.
I have medicinal daiquiris that are helping me stay.
Yes, so it's medicine.
Yes, so this could devolve very quickly. I'm not 100% sure. If you guys don't already know, my name is Abby Quinn. All my information is on my website, SumerianAstrology.com. While you're there, you can sign up for our Sunday meditation support group from 11 to 1 Eastern. It's not mandatory or anything, but you can definitely jump on there. We do not meditate on those calls, okay? We support each other on our journey through meditation and in life in general, okay? So we talk about everything on there, from business development to UFOs, and I mean, it goes every which direction you could possibly imagine. So that's pretty cool. You can also learn the Sumerian language if you're into that on my website. It's the best course you're going to find outside of a university level course. And you can also learn ancient astrology, which is what I do, particularly Sumerian astrology and pre-Babylonian, but there's some Babylonian mixed in there too. You can't really get away from it. All right. Since Niki's blowing her nose, Friar, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oakley dokley. I'm gonna show my banner and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Or my banner.
I got you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So many media assets.
Yeah.
Hey, it's me. Can't you tell? Can't you see me on screen? Yes, I am Friar Pesel, and I am everywhere. Guys, I got some bad news to start the year here, the first of Tevet year 5785. For those of you who know what I'm talking about, the Marduk 50 discount is over. It ended.
Sad times.
But
it ended with 2024 and will never be back, you guys. It's done.
That's true. It will never be back. However, I do offer deep listening and spiritual coaching sessions, and fret not. There is yet another discount. You can use discount code U225. That's right. Sheriff U2 is back. Like Sheriff Lobo, but different. So
I would pay full price for sure. If I would pay extra, I'd pay double if you would do all of the sessions in Professor Snape's voice.
Boom, slang, skin, lace wing flies. Yes, that can be done. So yes, I changed compassionate listening to deep listening because I've been really lucky to have clients who've been willing to experiment a little bit, be a little loose. And I've been trying to figure out what works for them and what works in general. And my practice changed so much from client to client and developed and got better. So it's no longer compassionate listening, although there is no shortage of compassion, but it is now deep listening, because I think that better reflects what's going on. And I will be changing the description on the friarpesel.wordpress.com soon. Also, see, I'm talking a lot. Also, videos will be coming probably spring equinox.
Oh, so we still got like many months away, but okay. better late than never.
Only
Let's
3.
do it.
Well, I'm going to be making a bunch of videos and I'm going to stack them, right? So there's going to be, in case I get sick or the sun explodes, the usual.
Oh, that's responsible. That's a responsible way to do it.
Yeah. So there'll be, I'm going to stack them out and then they'll publish on a schedule. And so the video, I'm actually going to start shooting videos really, really soon. So anyway, that's me. And clearly I'm caffeinated and like all amped.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Hell yeah.
Been listening to old Led Zeppelin loud in my ears this morning. It's good.
Favorite Led Zeppelin song? Go.
Favorite? Jeez, oh Pete's.
I know, I hit you hard.
That's just the one. Son of a gun. I tell you what. How about the
I like the one where. Oh, sorry. I'm all excited. I'm like, say it.
I'm gonna pick "We're Gonna Groove" off of the 1970 Royal Albert Hall live production, available on YouTube if you're interested. But yeah, that opener is a banger.
That is a good one. It's a good one.
It's a banger.
God. That's how you know you're a real fan, because you know the names to the songs. Me, I'm just like, I like the one that's like, na, 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 I just sing it.
Immigrant
it's
song?
that one. Yeah, that one.
Yep.
So one of my favorite memories of all time is standing on stage at a birthday party with my band. I was playing the guitar, right? We were doing Immigrant Song, but I was also singing it. And I also threw in the solo from a rare live version. And actually at the time I had the range. So I was like full on rocking. Thor was banging. It was killer. Best feeling ever. Immigrant Song. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
10 Years Gone is very good too. Norby.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm done with my blah blah.
Niki,
okay.
How about first favorite Led Zeppelin song, if you can think? Oh, you said the one. You said.
Oh yeah, that like
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now, if you want to tell us a little bit about.
Okay. So by day, I am a cannabis connoisseur. I work at a dispensary. It's awesome. I love helping people. You think I'm just like, not helping people. Like everyone comes in and they're just like, oh, sell me drugs. No, people come in and they have problems and they have things that they're treating. So I'm absolutely proud of what I do all day. I love what I do. But by night, I'm an astrologer.
Niki
I love to research. Yeah, I love to research. I've been obsessed with astrology for like the last 2 years. I'm just one of those data-driven people. I want to know all the ins and outs, the whys, the history. I want to get like so deep up in it that I become it, because I'm just that obsessed. I do natal chart readings. My information is below. You just email me and we can talk about it. So
we got to get you a ticker, Niki. I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I don't need anything special, but I do.
You need a ticker though.
Yeah, you need a ticker.
I am working on my YouTube, but I'm not really into doing the moon cycle videos. There are so many talented astrologers out there that do them all the time. I want to more or less get into a little bit deeper topics. Like today, we're going to talk about Neptune a little bit, I hope. And I love that. You guys are funny. No, I want to talk about, Neptune and how it's important because it's conjunct the nodes, the United States chart. But doing a little research, into Neptune, I had to reach out to Abby. I'm like, okay, I knew this, but I'm like relearning it again because I forgot. But when they discovered Neptune, it like wasn't in Pisces. It was in Aquarius. It was conjunct Saturn. So like, where did all of this Piscean stuff come from? So yeah. So we're gonna talk about like cool stuff like that. And that's kind of stuff I want to talk about. So yeah. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm caffeinated too. I got a good night's sleep. I had a party of one planned. Well, two, me and my cat. I ended up going to bed early. So
You can feel free to ramble on, Niki.
well, yeah. Oh my God. I had this most special, awesome little red demon bong that I just busted out a couple days ago. And I rang in the new year by accidentally breaking it. So smashed it. So it's not meant to be. Yeah. The spirit guides are like, yeah, going into the new year, this ain't coming with that. So I'm like, I get it. Okay. I'm going to bed.
Yes.
It was a bummer.
Wait.
Let's see if I can multitask. What? Go ahead. What?
Before we move on, I saw like a kick-ass Niki logo there that came up. Did you do that, Abby?
Yeah, I did.
You made that because that rocks. You should adopt that logo, Niki, for sure.
Niki is awesome.
Then yes, well, Niki is awesome. That's
here. Let me see if
that's a good one. That's like what I would say too.
Where is it? Media assets.
I got
Niki,
it. I got it.
It's right. That one.
Ooh! Oh my God! I love that. You guys are awesome.
Look
at you.
I'll send it to you. I think isn't that like the anarchy symbol or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Sally,
not bad. Yeah, I love it. You guys are so creative. I'm over here trying to figure out how to make my YouTube channel public. I'm like, did I click the right button? What am I doing?
Yeah, the struggle is real.
It is. I am unfortunately one of those people that just goes against the grain when it comes to technology. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't get it. I just hate keeping up with it.
I forgot to mention I'm going to be stopping writing on my blog in particular. I'm just going to make little cylinders that you roll across clay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And that way it'll last forever. I think that's
that's such a good idea. I know. I think we might actually have some things going on with the internet in the future in the United States.
What do you mean?
Well, every time Saturn's gone through Pisces since 89. So in 89, Saturn went through Pisces. And, regardless of all the crazy things that were going on in the United States, outside of the United States, Berlin Wall, all of that. Where was I? 89. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is Tim Berners-Lee is a British scientist working at CERN, and he developed the World Wide Web. That happened. So I was like, well, that's interesting.
It wasn't Al Gore?
It was not Al Gore.
Al Gore.
Yeah, wasn't that a thing forever? Where he was like, oh my God, he's a billionaire because he invented the internet?
Yeah.
But he didn't, right?
One of his many lies.
Well, he is a politician, so I mean, they do like to blow up the truth a little bit. So yeah, there's just a Saturn connection with Pisces and the internet. So in 95, when Saturn started pushing through Pisces again, that's when we had the rise of the internet, the rise of the .com stuff, all through like 95 through 98, end of 98, 99. That was when the entire internet was being developed and rolling out and becoming something new for us. So is it connected? I don't know. It's just a little pattern.
You're talking about Saturn, right?
I'm talking about Saturn. Yeah, Saturn.
Yeah, so that period between 93 to 96-ish, that's when, so like the internet on some level has been in development for like the last century, on some level. They were working on stuff way before anybody touched it outside of, like some university or government. program or something. But that period here between like 92 to 96, that's when basically like the internet went into everybody's house. Like pretty, like that's, you know, that was the kind of the personal tech revolution, right? Like most people, at least in the West, suddenly got access to it. That is something that we dealt with here too over the last so Saturn, as you guys know, is Saturn's coming out of Aquarius again. We went through this, we could do a whole episode just on Saturn's transits through the constellations because they are powerful. They really do make really big changes. You guys, what's the year this year?
2025.
Oh, shoot. All right. I'm already doing it wrong. I've been writing 2023 for the last like couple of months, so I don't know what's going on. But if you look, so 2022, 23, what's happened since 2023, basically until now, you guys, all of a sudden AI is now at everybody's fingertips. So again, this isn't when it's in development. They started working on developing AI in like the 60s or something. Yeah. So this is again when it's affecting the culture. So we can see like a civilization shift whenever this happens. And if we go back to, you can see a similar trend all the way back through civilization over the last few thousand years, as long as it's something where we know we can like measure it, we can see where there was some sort of technological innovation, but you can see these same things happening. Now the Pisces transit that's coming up, you said, hold on, let me go back to 1990, what? 4, 3.
By the way,
yeah,
in the mid-90s, I was a part of educational experiments with virtual reality and AI. So it does go back a lot further than people realize.
Yeah, it definitely does. So 96, 97, 98, 99. Why isn't it in centered? Come on, Saturn. You gotta be centered, buddy. I would say even like right through 2000. What happened at that point? That was our Y2K scare. That was kind of like our reset here as Saturn went into Pisces. I didn't know we were going to be time traveling today. But yeah, this was definitely a deeper shift at this point. So if you look at this, 93, the internet becomes, you know, pretty commonplace. By the time one of these longer moving planets goes into Pisces, now we're starting to get a shift in consciousness. It's already affecting how we function on like a deeper spiritual level. And we have some of that coming up for sure. So let me go back to 2025. Okay, so 2025 to 26, 27, 28, 29-ish. So right up until 2030. And this is, I think it's important to, I don't want to go way overboard just yet, but the Pluto transition at the same time that this is happening is very significant. The Pluto going to be in like working its way through Capricorn, or like on its way into Capricorn and whatnot. So I do think that this the AI changes that we've had, this is when it really starts to kick in, and like it starts to affect us on like a consciousness level or like a deeper spiritual level, for better or worse. Who knows? I suspect it's what somebody wants to do with that. I don't know, Nikki, how do you want to do this? Do we want to do one planet at a time, tag team it, go through each, or like do you got a plan in place? Because I don't have one. I'm winging it.
I didn't really have one either. I really wanted to like take a look at, because here's the thing, you know, a lot of people who are into astrology now or just getting into astrology now, they only have tropical to go off of. So I did a little like history research because I was like, well, what are the patterns like? What is it? I don't remember. I wasn't, you know, paying attention in 1995 to what was going on when Saturn was in Pisces. I just grabbed certain times when these planets were going through, and I you know, this conjunction on the North Node with Saturn, Neptune. And I just thought it was really important that we talk a little bit about the history, like where these planets were, where these bodies were during some of the craziest times we had. Like, for example, right before World War II, we weren't really in it, But it was, we got into it a few years later. I think it was in 1939, and we joined in like 1941. But it was around our Neptune return. So for me, I've just been kind of going a little crazy. Like, okay, Neptune's obviously the flavor of the like spiritual, you know, collective at the time. But I'm also kind of like thinking, okay, so Neptune's also a communicative planet as well. I'm not seeing the whole like illusions, delusions, and that kind of stuff coming from Neptune.
Exactly why they call it that, or why they associate it with that. Niki, your dates are better than mine at this moment in time. Or probably always. What year did they discover Neptune?
They discovered Neptune in 1846. It was like September 22nd, I think. Okay. September 22nd, 23rd.
During that period?
1846 was when we were having a border crisis with Mexico. We went to war with Mexico.
Yes,
that was like the biggest thing.
But what was going on in the West in general?
But yeah, globally, I mean, it was like a technological like breakthrough. We were having, you know, tons of inventions were coming, like the sewing machines and oh God, like all the factory work, like factory stuff, like we started mass producing. All of these crazy inventions started, the telephone, all of that. Yeah.
Yes. Which is weird that they don't put those innovations, they don't superimpose those onto Neptune, because that actually makes more sense. But
it's funny because during that time, like those were some things that I think are put on Uranus, and Uranus was moving through Pisces at that time.
So what they did with Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus was whatever drama or, you know, interesting marks on civilization were occurring at the time of the discovery of the planet. They just put those on. And one of the things that happened with Neptune, so of course they kind of combine them a little bit. It got named Neptune relatively randomly. I mean, it's blue and ocean-like, so, you know, they gave it like a god of the sea type of name. But some of the things that were going on at that time were related to advancements in medicine in particular. They were doing a lot with hypnosis, with anesthesia. They were doing a lot of experiments with different drugs, including, you know, like, all kinds of, you know, psychedelics. And so it got a lot of those like spooky, mysterious, and you know, like really woo-woo type of things. There was also a kind of like a revolution in like the spiritualist movement, which continued into the 1900s and everything. So all of that got put onto Neptune. Now, why it gets what are some of the goofy negative things that they associate with it? What you said, illusions and delusions.
Like it makes you delusional. Like
that goes back to the anesthetics, to like the hypnosis, and like the, you know, the spiritualist stuff. It doesn't have anything to do with the planet, and you can prove this easily by tracking it. And if they're going to tell you something's true, it will be true 100% of the time. I can tell you 100% of the time that Mars is going to affect your emotions, your body chemistry. Now, I can't tell you if that means it's going to be good or bad, because that's going to be an individual experience. But there's certain things that a planet does. I can prove to you 100%, and I double dog dare any of you out there to get on a call with me, and I will show you that 100% of the time, even on a daily basis, interactions with Neptune in your chart affect your communication for better or worse. Niki, can I throw you under the bus real quick?
Throw me right under. Yeah, it's all right.
So one of the things Niki was mentioning before the call, I think it was before the call, was that when she has interactions in her chart with Neptune, I assume it's like your points, you know, that are moving faster, or maybe like some other interaction, you get really emotional. And the first thing I would tell you from looking at that in a chart is that it actually has to do with your communication and your ability to express yourself in more of, not like, we're not talking about wild expression, you know, dancing naked in the moonlight. We're talking about like refined communication, artistry, basically like having deeper conversations with other human beings, which means that a lot of your emotional stress that comes up in those moments actually relates to probably years of not being able to express yourself, not having the ability to communicate, maybe because, it's not received well, or maybe you feel insecure and it's shut down. And of course, there's other things on the chart that you could pinpoint exactly what it is. But I can guarantee anybody out there, I've tracked Neptune for decades at this point, thousands of charts. I don't even know how many at this point. It relates to, for sure, communication. An expression of objective information and knowledge data. Now, how you express those things is going to depend on other things going on in your chart. It can be through art. It can be through innovation, originality. A lot of times, though, it's like straight up communication or technology. It is a very technological planet in my experience. And again, I'm happy to prove this to anybody. I can show you the data. I can show you in your chart. It's easily demonstrable. So. Same thing, Uranus. Do you remember what year Uranus was discovered?
That was 1771, I think.
1771, just before or during?
It was just before,
right?
Yeah, it was just before the United States declared their independence in 76.
Oh, that's right. You guys, what year was the French Revolution?
Oh my God, I don't.
1789.
1789. Okay, so this was like the lead up. That whole period was very chaotic, not just in the United States but in Europe. A lot of the negative associations with Uranus come directly from that time period where it was, and this is after the fact. Astrologers at the time, as far as I'm aware, didn't get Uranus named Uranus and all of a sudden had all these like goofy traits. This happened over time as modern astrologers kind of got a hold of astrology in general. Because at that time, astrologers weren't really using any of the outer planets. They were using all of the, the previously known planets and points. So a lot of that, what is it? Upheaval, betrayal, what's some of the other stuff that's associated with it, which also correlates to the mythology of Uranus and him wanting to kill his son because there was a prophecy that he was going to overthrow him. So some of the betrayal and the paternal issues and goofy stuff that comes from the mythology. But if they didn't name it Uranus, if they didn't name it Aphrodite, which we already had a Venus, so they wouldn't have done that, then it would have gotten all the love traits. I don't know if you guys out there in the chat, because I can't see my chat right now, if you guys understand, this is what modern astrology does. There's no other way to say it, so I'm going to say it. I'm just going to be blunt with you, but they just make shit up, okay? They just totally make it up.
No.
Yeah.
No. See, that's what I'm finding out. And it's confusing me as a student and a practitioner. I'm like, okay, I ask these questions. I Google them. I'm reading my books. I'm like, okay, what does Mr. Rudyard say? Oh, he avoids like mentioning that it's ever discovered in Aquarius at all. Okay. Like, whatever.
Yeah, so those signs that they're in at the time that they're discovered, if it's the actual sign and not the tropical sign, they will by their nature affect what was going on at the time, and those traits are going to get superimposed onto the planet, which is not a good way to discover anything. So if for example they discovered Saturn today, which is silly of course because you couldn't see it in the sky, but just as an example, Saturn is right there on the edge of Aquarius, right as we're getting into like the AI age. And so they would associate it naturally with all technology. If they named it Mark Zuckerberg, it would now be, or Elon Musk, it would be associated with social media and technology. That's a silly way to, do something in astrologically. That makes absolutely no sense. It's just bullshit. Like, I wish I don't necessarily want to have to swear at some astrologers, but like, it's so ridiculous. It's gross. And people live their lives based on astrology, which is another issue. I don't necessarily think that that's healthy, or necessary. But it does impact people. And you could also say the same thing for programming. When you tell somebody, the placebo effect is real. They did this study. I forget how many. I think they only had like 7 or 8 patients, but I think they were all veterans and they all had knee issues. And they did this study where they did surgery on these people with their knee issues. And I believe 7 out of 8 of them, don't quote me because I don't actually remember the number, but 7 out of 8, their knee pain went away. And they never had any knee pain again. And they came back to them and they're like, we actually didn't do anything. It was a placebo. We just cut you open. We did the anesthetic. We cut you open and we sewed you back up. And they're like, well, I don't understand how it works, because your mind is powerful. So, if you give it something to believe, if you program it to believe something, in a lot of cases it will, especially if you're primed to believe it. Now, this is a problem, because if you're primed, for example, to believe that a retrograde planet or a Saturn return or Uranus being negative, if you already are primed to have this belief that it's going to do something bad to you, the chances of actually doing something bad are very good. Which means that it's incumbent upon all astrologers to be as honest and accurate as possible. Just like a doctor should be continuing to do research into new techniques and medicines and research, astrologers have to do that too. So hopefully you guys out there, you have an astrologer who's doing that for you. If not, run as fast and as far as you can in the other direction and find somebody who does. All right, I'm ranting. What are we supposed to be doing right now? We're doing the forecast. Niki, take over. Talk about Chiron or something. I gotta go blow my nose, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, I don't want to talk about Chiron anymore. I got a little shit for that, but that's okay. I do think that there are astrologers, obviously, who've, done their research and they really like, the asteroids. And I think that if you're drawn to that and that's your thing and you can understand it, like, absolutely go for it. Me, I'm too much of a perfectionist nitpicker. Like, it was just discovered in 1977. I just don't feel like there's been enough research, and especially looking at the past and looking at, Neptune, like, it's all Pisces, even though we discovered it in Aquarius. And I don't know. See, that's what confuses me. And I hope that other students of astrology are asking these questions too. I'm just going off about it. God.
No, it's good.
Yeah. No. Well, what bothers me is that we just are taking what we're told and we're like, okay, this is it. Apply it. And I apply it. And when you're applying it to a client and it's not, they're like, that doesn't resonate. Well, then that's a big red flag for me. Because astrology to me is like a divine science. You should be able to have a formula. You should be able to apply that formula, and it's going to work every single time. So that's, otherwise then it's just some random tool that we're using, like tarot or whatever, and just pulling the answers out of the ether. And that's just not, I don't know. I don't trust that. I don't. From the University of Trust Me, Bro.
Yes.
Like, no, I trust what I'm seeing. I trust what I'm getting. I want to, see it, apply it, and have it work. And it does. But, the research needs to be done. So it's kind of annoying when everything's a sign off or.
I think these are great observations in terms of like being a student of any of this stuff. Is that you really have to navigate the University of Trust Me Bro versus the like super hard, rigid people who drop a whole bunch of Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And it's your method of inquiry. Like when I'm feeling especially generous, I say, look, all these things are methods of inquiry, and you got to walk your road. And you got to figure out what you can figure out. And at the end of the day, though, you have to kind of make the call. Like, all right, is this total like bro science, or what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree. And
I think you're making those decisions. I think that you're basically showing your notes to everybody. You're learning out loud, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Well, because when I look at the solar return, and like I look at what's going on and I look at Neptune, I mean, tropicalists or people who think Neptune is just gonna like fuck everything up and dissolve everything. I mean, I'm not feeling that. I'm not seeing that. I do see things changing, but I see it more or less on the like internet communicative style. And it's happening in that 5th and 11th house access for the United States. So that's a lot of like, oh my God, like what we make, what we do, like how we show up and what we're doing with other people. And God, I mean, I forgot what I was talking about. Hold on. I
okay.
just had a complete brain fart.
You're still in mourning for the devil bong. I understand.
yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God. Yeah. Yeah, I had to go to bed early. That was a bad fucking night.
That sucks. Was it
Yeah.
expensive?
No.
Oh,
No,
just liked
no,
it?
because
Just
of where
emotionally attached?
I work, I get, a lot of cool stuff. So it's just one of those cool things that come and go. But
Yep.
yeah, no more demon bong for me.
Well,
Anyway, we were
you're-
talking about the United States.
yeah.
Thank God we live in a free country where we can talk about these things now and not get, tied to a stake and burned alive. So
Yeah, that's a
we're,
plus.
we're making
Despite-
it. We're making it.
Despite the fact that I'm seeing increasing calls for exactly that kind of thing.
For real?
You
For
are
real.
really.
I have seen people say that people who are not Christians and specifically are occultists should be considered felons and put in jail. I have
That's so
seen.
silly.
I have seen calls.
Not their precious priests who have been nothing but predators. They shouldn't be in prison.
Yeah.
But the people who point it out, they should be though. That's dumb.
I don't disbelieve you because you guys are more tuned into what's going on in reality than myself. But that seems, I'll keep an eye out, but that seems really silly. That's like really like regressive. So, but society is like a pendulum and it,
Right.
swings back and forth. We go to one extreme to the other, and maybe one day we'll get our shit together and then aliens will feel comfortable to talk to us. Because right now it doesn't, they're weaning us in maybe, but
Yeah.
that's about it. Maybe we'll see that. If anybody's wondering, there's no planet or constellation that relates specifically to alien contact. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to see that in here.
Well, Neptune is about contact, right? And if it's really about spirituality and giving the, religious or spiritual flavor of the collective, then
but
we
Uranus,
could.
the glyph for Uranus looks just like the USS Enterprise. So I don't know.
USS Enterprise, yeah,
It
because
does.
the glyph for that is the satellite. So that's
Yes.
funny. When Uranus was discovered, it was right on the Silver Gate. It was right on the Silver Gate in Gemini, right on the Club of Orion.
That's a tricky portion of the sky too. That's really complicated.
Yeah. I think that's a psychic spot. I think that's really intuitive and really a high vibe spot. It's my opinion.
Let's do this. Let's not focus too much on the sun moving through, because obviously over the next year the sun's going to move through all of the constellations. If you don't know that,
What?
Welcome. Yes. So we're going to skip the moon too, because that obviously traverses all of the constellations in a single month. So if you didn't know, I'm glad you're here and you're learning all of these things with us. So let's go from the inside out and kind of swing through these. I'll give, we'll do one at a time, Niki. I'll go through and give my take, and then I'll have you pop in and we'll go back through if you want, and see, like whatever you want to do. So I'm not like, we're not, we have equal time. We'll split between. Sound good?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm going to talk about weird shit anyway. So.
All right, cool. I'm into that. So let's see here. Let's see if I can, how do I want to do this here? Do we got to do it this way? Yeah. So while Venus is going through Aquarius, and this is, kind of fast, she's going to retrograde here, I believe. When does she retrograde, you guys? I don't have my dates in front of me. So I have, or did she just come out? I think she just came out of retrograde, didn't she? Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
No, she hasn't gone into retrograde yet. No, she's still chugging along. So, well, wait, I don't know. Sorry, wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, what year are we? I'm doing it now too.
Now we're at 2025. Or she's going retrograde. Yeah, she's almost there. So she's gonna be stationary around the 22nd. Okay, and then she's gonna go retrograde. But I don't get, Niki might want to talk about the retrogrades. I don't get into that too much. It doesn't apply in Mesopotamia. They just saw the planets as being the wandering stars. from the Book of Enoch, Wandering Stars. If you guys,
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, anyways, they just kind of go back and forth, and that's just their domain. Sometimes they're brighter, sometimes they're dimmer. And in Babylon in particular, the brightness, which would have been when it's going direct, that would have just been more intense energy, whereas dimness, it just doesn't have as much power. Sometimes it can even, if it related to Mars, and again, this is Babylon only, it could have been a negative thing. Or no, it was a positive because Mars was the god of war. But like I said, I don't do Babylonian astrology too much. So regardless, Venus's placement or trekking here through Aquarius is this was Enki. This is the constellation of innovation. As far as I have found, Neptune in particular is basically synonymous with this Enki energy. I think it's a coincidence that he was a water god and Neptune is obviously, god of the sea and whatnot. But either way, when I have tracked them, they have been very similar. There is one of the things we don't usually talk about. Enki does have really strong libido. It actually gets them into trouble at certain points. So sometimes if Aquarius doesn't have an outlet, if you have strong Aquarius in your chart and you don't have an outlet for some of that the refined, scientific or creative, artistic expression that you have, it can come back to bite you and it can become a little destructive. But while Venus is in here, she's going to be opening that up. And this can be really good for communication. So like the kind we were talking with Niki, like something that she needs, it's going to open up her heart to more expression, to more refined expression. And I don't know, Niki, this seems like a really good time. Well, pretty much for anybody, Friar, you too, to jump out there on social media and potentially start, reaching more people. Her conjunction here with Saturn towards the mid part of the month, I think is probably also a benefit. She's really soft here in Aquarius. I think she works very well. It's not like her going to war or anything like that, because she can do those things. Now, when she gets in here to Pisces, this is another really soft placement for her. Right? Okay, so these two fish of Pisces, Anunatum, Nanshe, Caddis, however you want to look at them, were basically versions of Venus too. But this is her in her soft, maternal, altruistic, nurturing guys. She's more related to fertility, and she's basically going to be, she's going to be more nurturing and loving, and then she's going to connect back with Saturn. Again, I suspect that's a good thing for society as a whole. These so far, and I'm not going into detail, I know I'm isolating the planets, but this really gives people the opportunity to heal some things on like a global scale and, in your individual life. As we go into this portion of which I still consider tied up with Pisces. So Aries is, this was actually the husband of Venus. His name was Demuzid. He was a shepherd. He was paternal, but he was also soft and sensual. He had a lot of sexual energy in there too. She talks about him. There's lots of erotic poetry about the pair. But it's also wrapped up in here in Ketis, the head of Ketis in particular, who was the primordial mother goddess in Babylon and really just relates to the stuff of the cosmos. So this is a very creative portion of the sky. Now, as she moves into here, this is when things can start to get a little bit more chaotic. Now we're looking at, what do we see here? This is, you guys help me, June, yeah? June into the July time period. Now the downside to this is, and this is going to be, what do we want to say, right at the beginning of July, Venus, when she is in certain positions, she is said to wear a beard. And that's basically a code for, this is when she goes into like war mode and she can get real scary. Okay. So if I'm looking for anything going on in relation to her being like goddess of war and kind of doing the petulant throwing tantrums and like fucking shit up, so to speak, this time right here where she's conjunct with the Pleiades, which were synonymous with Mars, but they were specifically his weapons of war. This is one of those times that I would be very cautious of. Now, the good news, saving us, I think, from, so I wouldn't call this a nuclear war necessarily. Some of the good things going on in here are, we have the sun in Gemini, which again, this is, happens every year at around the same time. This does soften some of our relationships with each other. It's also conjunct with Jupiter. Jupiter is also a really powerful planet. But these both here in Gemini are going to connect us to other people. So while, yes, from a global scale, there is a very real potential for some sort of, I don't want to call it global catastrophe, because this is more like the goddess of war time period in here and through July. I do think that we have maybe some saving grace and like cooler heads may prevail, but it's not a guarantee. At the same time, we have Mars right here in Leo. He's another god of war, very close to Regulus. This kind of turns on some of the more aggressive, masculine aspects of Mars. I don't think that it doesn't look good. Okay, so if I'm looking for, something bad to happen, and I'm just trying to keep an eye out for good or bad. This period right at the beginning of July is probably the one that I would look for. And like I said, it's not great, let me see. She starts to soften up though right around mid-July, which, I mean, as long as she's in Taurus, she's getting, she's still a little feisty, but I think there's like that maybe a 2 to 4 week span right before the beginning, so mid-June to mid-July, where we have potentially some issues. She's going to soften up. So this portion that Niki was talking about, Mesopotamia, all 4 of these were constellations in the Sumerian zodiac. This up here was very similar to this Aries figure that I told you. It was Dumuzid, the crook, and he was a shepherd. He was very paternal. But this figure down here was the true shepherd of Anu, and he was basically a stand-in or an emissary of the supreme celestial god of creation. And he has no tolerance for lies or wickedness or any of those things. So as we get into the middle part of this constellation, we have a lot of creative power pouring out of the Hyades over here, but we start to soften it up. We start to temper some of this warlike energy from Venus, and she starts to kind of get her head put back on straight. She becomes a little bit softer, a little bit more emotional. What we got over here? She's going to be conjunct in August with Jupiter. Jupiter's going to keep her under control. Okay. So I would not look at this as there being some sort of, and some people might see Venus and Jupiter as a negative. I don't know what they do out there, guys. I can't vouch for any of it, but I will tell you that Venus and Jupiter together, he was like the master of the cosmos basically. And he's not going to let her go totally buck wild. Not that she would in Gemini anyways. I do think that's another thing that's probably going to, if I was looking for like peace deals, treaties, something like that, I would say that's a really good possibility. Maybe mid-August. Where was my Venus here? Back up, and she's going to head into Cancer. I also think this is going to keep her under wraps. This is her in the underworld, where this is not her reign. This is not her domain where she has a lot of power. So she can't really do a whole lot. It's going to be more internal. So this is something that you guys are going to want to use on your own end. If you were going to go on vacation, or maybe, take a break from something, go on to a conference and like do some deep inner work. That's probably what I would do. Now she does get a little feisty again here in Regulus. This was one of her other constellations. She's conjunct with Regulus on September 19th. Now the breast of the lion was basically one of her stars, and this is her right in her guise as the goddess of war. Now she's not necessarily here trying to start problems, okay? But will she solve the problems? Will she step up and defend herself, her family, whatever? Yeah, she will. She's not going to mess around. She's not going to wuss out. Okay. So if somebody else, I can't say if somebody else out there, one of these countries is going to start something, she may step up and finish it, if we are looking for something to do with potential war or global issues, that's definitely a potential time frame. We're going to go, hold on. I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see what's happening up here. Venus, I know me and Niki, we've talked about this before. I like Venus in Virgo. I think it softens her up. This kind of puts her in home. She's in like mom mode, tuned into nature and the cosmos. She's in here with the sun at the same time. He's going to keep her under wraps. In Mesopotamia, this was her twin brother, and he was always talking her off the ledge. So he's, his placement up here is really good. I know everybody's talking about like financial crashes and market issues. I do think that the sun with Venus in here at the same time is probably going to, keep things relatively stable. Now, I haven't looked at the other planets going through. We're going to do that in a minute, but I do just want to make it through the rest of the year. So into November, she becomes much more social. She opens up here in Libra a little bit. I think that that's probably a plus for her. And she's going to go conjunct with Antares with the sun at the same time, which again, I think this is a positive. This to me looks like, so if you guys don't know, I know we talk about it like every call, but basically Antares is, she was the Lisi goddess, and she was known to be able to soothe the hearts of the angry deities. And if you have a strong Antares in your chart, or like if you're watching your charts through the day, see what's going on, this is what brings out the drama. It's not your drama, it's other people's drama, and it comes to you because there are people who are needing of it being solved. So sometimes Venus here can bring out like the worst in people and like bring it to you and like kind of lance the festering wounds so you can deal with, you know, whatever else is going on. But again, the sun's close proximity to Venus means he's keeping her on the down low, and they're both in here. They're tag teaming this, and they're basically going to keep it from becoming something bigger. As a matter of fact, there is a potential for like if we're looking for, you know, larger, you know, peace deals or treaties or like cooperation from other people. Same thing, even into December, they're all going to be conjunct. So Venus and Mars by themselves here. Sometimes that can be real intense, very emotional, very unpredictable. But with the sun here, he's keeping them both, you know, he's keeping them calm. And it's a time of like justice, and it's good. Okay. Right at the same time. So we're coming up around this time next year. It's definitely a plus. All right. So I'm going to swing back to now, and I'm going to let Niki take over. And Niki, I'll walk through this on this chart while you go through with Venus if you want to. I know there's other stuff you want to see with Venus. I do have my other chart up, but I don't want to switch it out yet because I want to, if we want to look at just the US, I have the solar returns ready, and we can take a look at like some of the aspects. But if you talk about them and stuff, I'll pop back and forth here if that's good with you. Yeah, Niki, are you alive? Are you there?
Oh my God, sorry.
Okay.
I didn't realize I muted myself. Yeah, I pulled up the solar return right here.
Do you want to switch screens? Do you have? Oh, you were just looking at it. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to send it to you, but oh my God, I'm like not having a fun time screenshotting my stuff. It's just being silly. So
no worries.
I know. I'm so technologically like at a disadvantage. I don't know why. I just feel like I might have like old person syndrome when it comes to technology.
You don't.
Oh my God. Okay, so well, if you go to we could check out like the solar return. So like July 4th of 2025. Yeah, that's going to be the United States solar return right on the day. Yeah. Wow. It's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, and it happens to be that same time period with Venus conjunct to the Pleiades, but continue.
Yeah, it does. It happens to be the same, but it's also conjunct Uranus too. So can we see that in there? Are they together? Yeah, they're together.
That is correct. You are correct.
Yeah. So when they're together, I don't like, I see that kind of being a little bit more like, okay, so Uranus is the rebellious one, the one that causes and shakes
in modern
a lot of shit
yes.
up. Yeah, yeah. And I do like to see, you know, I do like to picture Uranus as like the Prometheus character, I mean, from myth. So I can't get rid of that. I've tried. So I kind of see those two actually I'm not creating stability or anything like that, but I'm just not seeing like we're going to war at that time. I do see there being some changes obviously going on with the way we communicate, Mars being in Leo, and then we have almost a Jupiter return, kind of like I could see that being like more of a flex of power. Because when we go back a little bit earlier into like April, and we look at the April 20th transits, then we can see that we have like the North Node conjunct with Saturn and Neptune and and Venus on April 20th. And I think that's important because we have it's kind of a collective thing. You know, here we have Saturn on the North Node, which is this collective, like almost like fated commitment or responsibility. Saturn and the Neptune, you know, we have these communication planet, this planet that is about innovative ideas and connecting together. And it's also the South Node at that time is going to be almost conjunct the United States Neptune, natal Neptune in Virgo. So to me, it's definitely going to change the way we do everything when it comes to communicating, AI, social networking, community building. It's almost like the whole, not just the United States, but like the whole world changes. So is it Skynet? I mean, God, I don't know. But when I see that conjunction happen in April, that's that kind of makes me a little worried, a little sweaty. and I think Venus there smooths it over. I mean, it's obviously not going to be like doom and gloom. I mean, these are just I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, I just don't see us going to war. Okay, like I don't see that this year at all. Actually, I'd see like there are things happening. Obviously, there's going to be definitely some like social stuff on the United States front. We're probably going to have some border issues, but looking at that, like looking at the solar return chart and looking at those major conjunctions, those major things, I think it's definitely has something to do with the internet, the way we communicate, AI, possibly the UAP that we have flying around that nobody's really talking about. Like it's not even on the news anymore.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff about it. And Nikki, that's actually really interesting that you mentioned it. I think you're right. I think this period, again, wouldn't get hung up on the exact date, you guys. I don't think that that's wise because these energies interact with each other like in days before and after. But with Neptune here and Mercury, so if I'm looking for news, so if you watch Mercury in a day-to-day chart, you can see almost exactly when somebody's going to contact you, when you get a message, when you like you learn new information. Okay. If we're looking for like a disclosure situation where we're going to find out some big news, either UFOs are real or we're going to find out that Skynet has become self-aware or whatever it is, this actually would be a really good time period for this. Right at this, what you're saying. But the only thing I would say is with Venus, I really think Venus's placement in Pisces is going to be much softer, which would probably soften all of these. So I would say that it's probably something beneficial overall.
Yeah.
I mean, continue. I'm sorry to mean to interrupt.
Oh, yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of secrets coming out, some type of stuff. And it could be related to, it really could be related to spiritual, religious ideas. It could really be letting go of a lot of the old ways of thinking and doing things in spirituality. And I know we don't want to always connect. No, I don't want to always connect Neptune to spirituality, but I do feel like with Neptune being one of the furthest reaching outside planets, it has that connection to divinity. There is definitely some type of connection there, like just my own just my own like feelings about it. But yeah, I think we could actually see disclosure this year. I do. I don't think that they're going to be able to hide what's going on very much longer. When I look at the solar return, I see a lot of communication, a lot of communication stuff coming through, a lot of like rebranding, like a lot of redoing in a different kind of way, and not necessarily in a violent way either. These signatures, like these planetary returns, what was going on at the time. That's why I wanted to go back and look and show people like, hey, like just because this is happening doesn't mean that we're going to go to war. Just because this happens doesn't mean that it's going to happen again. Like I think Friar You said it best. Like, it doesn't always repeat itself, but it rings the same way or something like that.
It
It- it-
rhymes.
It rhymes. Oh, I love that. Yeah, because that's really what's happening with a lot of our issues and our social issues here in the United States. Because when Pisces or Saturn was going through Pisces last time and in 95, all those same issues are still here. Universal health care, the partial birth, abortion ban, what the hell else? Yeah, the women's reproductive rights, all of that. Like, universal health care got denied, the Republican revolt, we had government shutdowns. I mean, so there's all of those same things happening right now.
Specific to
same
the
issues.
US.
Specific to the US. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's how
Yes.
I tied Saturn into Pisces, because I was like, okay, like, we're involved with a lot of other people, and a lot of our wealth and what we bring in depends on international business and international relations. So, like, we have to keep those in good standing, but it's definitely going to change how we are seen out there and to the rest of the world.
Niki, are you just looking at the static chart right now, the solar return? Is that what you're looking at?
I was glancing back at it, but yeah, I did looked at it already. So I kind of remember where everything is.
Did you have other dates for Venus interactions through this
No,
year?
actually, I'm really glad
was
you
the big
covered
one?
Venus, because I didn't. I looked at like Saturn and Mars and and Jupiter, because they're more like they initiate those like life processes, and then we see them through, Mercury and Venus and the moon, but we weren't going to look at the moon. So
Yeah, it's moving too fast.
yeah, it does. We're the United States is a Virgo moon, though, if that makes sense to anybody.
Okay, hold on one second.
Is it a Virgo moon? No, wait, hold on. It's
I don't know.
Aquarius
I
moon.
have
I
to
was
look.
looking at the solar return. Sorry. We have a solar return Virgo moon.
I'd have to I can barely remember my own stuff, you guys. I look at too many charts.
Yeah, I did. I've been looking at so many. My eyes are actually like crossing.
Well, let me,
Because I jumped from this date to that date. I was all over the place because it was like a big web of like, oh my God, history. This is awesome. And I found out something really cool about Friar. He got to meet Bill Clinton. Did you know that?
did.
He got to meet the President of the United States.
I did.
That's pretty fucking dope, I think. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that is cool.
Yeah, he taught me how to pick up girls. It was great.
Yeah. Do you guys play music together? Did he bust out the saxophone?
Yeah,
And you were like,
we had a little jammy whammy, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Actually, we talked about old cars.
That is even better. That's right.
I love my Mustang.
cool.
It's really great. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
dang.
You practice impressions. You have to. There's no way you don't practice.
Yeah. Do Bill again.
I don't know. Well, first of all,
Well,
if I'm going to do a Bill Clinton impersonation, I'm going to need your personal phone number, Niki.
I love it. You're good at those. You're super good at those.
You guys, let me swing through these, and we'll take I do have the static charts out, so I can. Are you looking at which solar return for the U.S. are you looking at? 24 or 25?
25.
Okay. All right, that's good. Do you have specific dates or anything or time periods for Mars that you wanted me to focus in on?
No, not at all. Not at all. I actually barely looked at Mars. I just wanted to make sure he wasn't in our second house.
Okay. Let me fly through these. I already covered a lot of these constellations, so it'll probably go by pretty quickly, you guys. But let me see here. Hold on. Center. You guys, if you don't know, sometimes people ask. This program is Stellarium. Download it for free, stellarium.org. It's awesome. And it's planetarium software, so it's like not polluted by new age nonsense. So just so you guys know. All right, so as you can see, Mars is right now right at home in the underworld, which this was the one of the entrances to the underworld. So stand by. Sorry. I have to like, I don't know, you guys can't tell, I'm like constantly waving my family off, like I'm definitely busy right now. So this is a really good place for him. This is him like right at home. I think he works very well in Cancer, and that's going to kind of calm things down. He's also pretty at home here in Gemini. Now, if you read the Babylonian omens, though, Mars in Gemini tends to come up with some sometimes like illnesses and whatnot. Now, you guys don't think that this is global pandemic stuff. Keep in mind, Mars is moving through these constellations every few years. It's really not like a big deal. I don't think there's anything negative about Mars's placement here, other than we're all a little bit maybe more sensitive, which, you know, can obviously be an issue. I wouldn't look at this if I'm looking for like global portents of anything traumatic for good or ill. He's just going to be swinging back through his home into May, going into Mars. Now, this one is tricky, and we kind of talked about this already. Leo. Leo is also one of his planets, or excuse me, constellations. And when he's in here, it can become like it lights this constellation up with more of this warlike energy, more masculine, kind of hyper masculine, ego driven, very sensitive, you know. It's not great, especially right around, this is going to be mid-June. And if I recall, that's the period that didn't we talk about mid-June earlier, just on this very call, you guys?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's okay. That is like okay, yeah. I know I said that on a different call. I think it was like our meditation call, and you were like, I'm going to hold you to it, because I do think if anything's going to happen, it's going to be when Mars goes into Leo sometime.
Yeah, summertime's tricky. And this isn't just for the United States. This is, at least so far, I haven't looked at the United States in particular. This is a potentially dangerous situation. I do think justice may prevail here with the Sun and Jupiter in this portion of the sky. I think that that's of benefit. But even Venus here in the middle, the head of Ketis, she was not just a paternal, or excuse me, the cosmic mother, she was also a terrifying warrior. So you know, Venus there can go either way. This will be interesting, and this is the beginning of that mid-June to mid-July time period where I said things were kind of iffy. So if you're looking for something like that, you know, maybe I probably wouldn't, if you guys are planning vacations, like I might not plan my vacation during that time period. So, you know, like I'm just putting it out there for you.
Yeah.
Mars, the whole period of Mars being in Leo is not necessarily bad, but it does correlate to that same time period we said was tricky earlier on, which if you see it doubled up in the chart somewhere, that's definitely something to pay attention to. Now, Mars moving through Virgo is not inherently bad, at least, you know, as far as the world is concerned. Now, Virgo is a financial constellation. All the way really to Antares, we're going to be dealing with financial stuff. So if we're looking for financial triggers, this would probably be the time. Now, I can't tell you just based on this. So far, I'm not seeing like a global financial market collapse or anything like that. If I were, and again, if I'm going to look for something negative, just so I can, you know, put some warnings out there for you. This period where Mars connects with Spica, which is the health and wealth constellation. This is potentially a little volatile. It's not a guarantee that it's even a negative, but it could definitely be a big disruption. Yeah, that's that whole period looks like through September. That's interesting. And it happens to coincide with this Venus Regulus. That's not great, you guys. I'm just being honest with you. It doesn't look good here. In the moon, or excuse me, the sun is like very spread out between both of these. So he doesn't have that influence to kind of keep both of them under wraps, but interesting, definitely interesting. But we move out of that time period relatively quickly, and then already into October, things should kind of settle down a little bit more. Now there is right mid-October this Mercury-Mars conjunction. When we're looking at it from a global perspective, sometimes this can be somebody starting some problems. People getting offended. You're hearing new information and it's not always good. You got like, you know, these masculine, very aggressive, unbalanced masculine energies kind of, you know, talking smack to each other. on a global scale. That's not great, right? That's not the type of thing that we want, but that seems to occur right around this October 20th time period. We kind of already talked about this because this is when Venus and Mars, so things do settle down. It's not a constant, okay? This does not read to me like global chaos and it's the end of the world and whatnot. And that's going to lead us right into the same time period. Niki, did you have anything to say with Mars in particular before I pop on to just a couple of the other ones real quick?
No, not really. Not really. I do want to add, like, I know that we do have like problems here in the country that are obviously just like our civil problems, not outside of the country. So I think a lot of those upsets that you're seeing are a lot of like just us, you know, because I know a lot of people, everybody actually, every single person I've ever talked to is just really sick of this shit. The United States is just not taking care of its people. They're not doing what we want them to do at all. They're like just being not cool, man. Let's just put it that way. So, I mean, there is going to be some readjustments. There are going to be some things going on that I can't tell you what's going to happen exactly. But I think it's we can just see from looking at the past and now looking at like what's going on now that there's definitely going to be some shifts and some pushing and some changes. I don't necessarily think it's going to be like violence against the masses.
Well, let's hope not.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not. Maybe like, you know, a little like, you know, people revolt, that kind of stuff.
Revolts. No violence though. Yes,
nah,
peaceful.
well, I mean, we can do it in peaceful ways. So, I mean, if we don't like corporations taking over everything, stop buying their shit, okay? Stop buying their crappy food, stop buying their crappy drinks, and you can fight the system by, guess what? Not participating. You don't buy their shit. If their cereal is full of cancer-causing ingredients, you don't buy it. Send them the message. There's a lot of ways to send the message without there being violence, you know, in my opinion. I mean, I just think on a personal level, if you want to change the world, you have to change your life on the micro level. You know, in order to see anything happen on a micro level, it starts there and expands. Can change everything by just changing the way you do shit every day. Everybody. I've been meeting people who are so scared of the end of the world. And I'm like, oh my God, it's been the end of the world every day for somebody out there already. So there is no end in sight. Okay. I'm sorry, everybody. Everybody wants Jesus to come down in on a flaming horse with his tattoos and his fucking machine guns and whatever to come save us all.
I'm liking this. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what I imagined when I was churchy, and I was like, yeah, fucking Jesus is coming to save us. Like, I want him to be the coolest motherfucker ever. Like, he's gonna come down here, and yeah. So that was my thought anyway. But people still have that. Like, there's somebody that's gonna save us, whether they project that onto a president, a billionaire, something. You are going to save you, okay? Not some person who's in the government, not some billionaire who doesn't give a shit about the people, really. Like, it's you. So stop thinking like that. Stop thinking that somebody is going to come, this one and only is going to come and save you. That's not going to happen. And the world's not going to end either, because I have a future. I have a long drawn out one. And so I know the world's not going to end. We'll be okay, guys.
I remember people asking me that before 2012. They were like, at all the psychic readings I was doing, they're like, do you see anything after 2012? I'm like, yeah, it looks like everything just kind of keeps going.
Well, I don't like to do a lot of psychic work. I don't want to get into that anymore. So I think once you crash and burn, you learn your lesson. But when I looked at this presidency and what was going on, like, I didn't even see it finishing out. You know, I saw these little flying machines, you know, flying around. And it was a really weird vision. So, and lo and behold, here we have all of these flying, you know, machines, these UAP, what, you know, drones, whatever they want to call them to feel better. But I mean, have you seen some of the videos? Like,
Oh yeah.
glowing
Yes,
triangles. I shared one on Instagram, and a friend comments, she's like, the kid in the back is so funny. And I was like, there's sound. I went and clicked on it, and there's this little kid from Jersey. He's like, holy fucking shit, look at that, look at that. And he's swearing, and it's the cutest thing. And then he's like, Ma, come look at that. It's so funny. But it robbed it of the seriousness. This is like, what the hell are these glowing things in the sky? Why are they looking like jellyfish? Why are they looking like something we didn't make? We didn't create. We didn't do that. Like, so it's interesting. It's interesting. It'll be a really cool development. If it all just drops off and falls away and nothing ever happens and with it and we never see it again.
it's not gonna.
I don't think it will.
People are. It just can't.
Yeah, you know, in the past we've been told that they show up and they only like really want to be seen and known when there's a lot of nuclear talk and nuclear war talk, and obviously there's a lot of shit going on, you know, between us and between, you know, the folks in the Middle East. I mean, everybody seems like they're upset about something right now. We got the war in Gaza going on. There's war all over the place all the time. So, yeah, I mean, we can't keep it up forever, guys. You know, we can't keep coming up with excuses to just ethnically cleanse land and say it's in the name of religion, because it's just, when you find out that, you know, there's other beings out there and there's other entities, what does that do to your value system and the foundations that you were raised on? What does that do to a person who's never had to think about it ever in their whole entire life? Like me, I've thought about it forever. I'm just like, I've always been thinking about it. I'm like, oh, this is exciting. But for some folks, it just scares the shit out of them. And it's probably a majority of, I don't know, the country, the world. You know, what do you do when everything you've ever known just kind of gets zapped and thrown out the window? And I think that could happen. We could have some information, some secret stuff come through that just blows everybody away.
And it looks
it's just
like April, right? Early to mid-April seemed like the time.
Yeah, between April and like probably July, maybe even before that, maybe even like March. Somewhere in between there, I think we're going to see something happen. Something's going to come out. Something's going to have to be, you know, said. But it's going to something's coming out about it anyway.
Yeah, it's already happening.
Yeah,
it has to at this point. People are not buying it anymore.
No.
Let me. I might be able to pick something out for the country individually. Let me tackle this real quick. It's not super interesting with Jupiter, because Jupiter moves pretty slowly and it's like hitting all of these same constellations. It's been in Taurus for a few months. It's been going back and forth. It looks really cool in the sky, you guys. You should definitely go check it out close to Aldebaran. But it's basically moving through Jupiter or Taurus. This is a very creative portion. The Heidi's is very creative. Without going into all the details. Again, we get this pulling from all four of these constellations during like the mid part of the month. Now, this is, if we're looking for like justice coming, you know, somebody getting their comeuppance, this is kind of the time. And again, this puts us in a really weird position in the middle part of the summer, like early to midsummer. I can't say, I've already seen it in other places where that's going to be pretty active, but this is definitely kind of tricky. As it gets closer though into Gemini, I do think it's going to soften this up a little bit more. So hopefully, again, it looks like there's a couple month period where things are a little chaotic, and then maybe again in the fall. Where is our Saturn? I don't know how far Saturn's making it this far into the year. Let's see. We're just getting it from It's finally starting to really move into Pisces. Now, Saturn in Mesopotamia, this was not a negative planet, you guys. This was Ninurta, and he was awesome at everything. He was the god of wisdom and knowledge and healing. He basically created society. But when we're looking at like a civilizational planet, and like a societal planet, this is definitely one that we look into, as well as like financial things. Let me see here. He's going in. Let me see some of these bigger conjunctions and stuff. Probably that's not the most interesting right here, but I'm so sorry, you guys. This goes back to, this conjunction is really interesting, this whole period in here. And I think Neptune's right in here too, right, Nikki? I can't see it.
In that, yeah.
This is very interesting.
In Pisces.
If we're looking at a disclosure event or something big happening, what else is happening right around the same time period? And again, this is in the United States, and I hate to be one of those people where like, oh, the United States is like everything, because it's not. But it obviously has a major impact on all of like global finance and world, politics, and just how the world works and whatnot. But this is very interesting, and this seems to happen, I'm going to say, when is this conjunction? This is the Venus-Saturn conjunction right around inauguration time. Interesting. I don't see this inherently as a negative. What else do we have going on? Sun there right between Capricorn. No, I don't think that's bad. Mars, I think, is starting to, right in there. Hold on, you guys. This is interesting. This is a big news date, but we're probably just dealing with something related to potentially like the election and stuff. But then we get into, hold on, Saturn, come back, buddy. Yes, I'm talking to the planet like it's alive on my screen. No, again, end of February, interesting news is coming in. This Mercury is bringing some sort of news. So what would we give that from the United States perspective? Like a month of basically the new administration coming in and something shifting. There's some sort of shift that comes in. It's going to swing back. We're going to get the Sun-Saturn conjunction, but this is all right. Well, Neptune, I believe we said Neptune was right in the same period. This is fascinating. This is a really, really interesting time in global, like everything, okay, and like societally, as it's all moving into Pisces at the same time. This is a really big shift. This is that early May time period. Very, very interesting.
Yeah. And Pisces is, Pisces is a pretty complex set of stars. And, I love how you explain Pisces. Oh my gosh. A Nunatune? Is that one of them? Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Yeah. Because it's a sense of like Pisces, it's like the core of things. Where are we from? What are we doing? Like, why are we here? All of those questions, the mysteries. It's kind of the pulling apart of everything before it comes back together. I think that'll be really interesting. I, personally never really saw the administration moving over. Like, I never tried to look ahead and look at that, but I'll be interested to see what really happens. I don't know. Our president-elect is pretty old. The one we have now is like, whoa. Like, where do we find these people? Like, when can we get somebody young and awesome in there? Like fresh ideas. Somebody whose Pluto isn't in Leo. But I'm just saying, anyway, laughing about it because I know everybody loves their politics. They hold it so dear. I'm so sorry. I treat it kind of like a joke, and I just laugh about politics, and I'm sorry, I don't take it as seriously as other people. But I've been watching politics since I was a little kid, and I've been watching the whole propaganda machine, and the cycles go, and it's constantly, well, we're going to change things, and we're going to do this, and nothing ever happens. I've been alive for almost 42 years, and I've seen the same patterns going over and over and over again. So we do have a really good thing going on right now. We have an administration that actually wants to change things, wants things to be set right. We've got people appointed that are looking at the food, looking at the way we do business, looking at all of those things. So there's like going into this, is there a lot of positivity. But with there being so many attempts on this man's life, I'm not sure what's going to happen next when it comes to his administration. It just kind of, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Oh my God, is this serious? But yeah, it is.
No,
I mean, we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, it's going to be a very interesting transition of power. So.
If I seem surprised, it's because I don't look at this stuff before the calls. I like to be, see like what's coming up, and I'm a busy girl, so I'm not just like staring at the sky nonstop. So it's interesting to me too. Obviously, Saturn's going to be here for a while. I don't see the oppositions in this chart because I'm not looking at it or anything, so I don't know what's going on outside of this. I'm just mostly looking at the conjunctions, and if you guys aren't sure why I do that, that's because these would have been, in Mesopotamia in particular, these are the things that we can actually kind of see what's going on, and that's when they're going to be the most intense. So we can see this from like a potentially electromagnetic and even gravitational pull. When there's a conjunction with a planet, it does vary. It's minuscule, but it does change. It perturbs the planets in their orbit, that's one of the ways that astronomers can tell that there's other planets in either in our solar system or somebody else's, because they all pull on each other. So that's pretty much everything for Saturn. Neptune's going to be right in the same area the entire time. Now, I didn't really talk about this. We kind of touched on it a little bit before, but as I said, Neptune's very much associated with Aquarius. I think Neptune's presence here is basically going to be, it's a new, like now we're integrating our new technology, AI in particular, into our consciousness, and we're shifting. A lot of people are going to start shifting away from heavily relying on technology. They're still going to rely on it. Okay, we're all basically cyborgs now, right? But a lot of people are going to start detaching and not allowing it to completely, like, just totally run their life. So that'll be probably good. Uranus, help me, Nikki. Where's Uranus during this whole basically?
Taurus, yeah.
So like
he's still hanging out there.
Yep, Uranus is going to be in here now. I didn't talk about this when Venus was over here before, but so if you guys care, if you want to know my take from having tracked these planets for a long time, Uranus, in my experience, is very much a partnership planet. Okay. It tends to, it's very similar to Capricorn just in general, which if you don't remember, because you're new here and need to know, welcome, like, share, and subscribe, by the way. This was Tashmetu, a goddess of just blessings and devotion and healing, and it's just very empathic, very loving and nurturing, and pretty much all good stuff. I see those trends with Uranus. I have yet to see a negativity trend with Uranus where it relates to anything about upheaval or none of that goofy stuff. But I can tell you that when Uranus and Venus are together, they act very much in like a partnership. They work very well together. Now, I wasn't looking at it because, again, I'm doing ancient astrology, and we can't see it in the sky without like really tuning into it and using a telescope and whatnot. But Uranus's conjunction at the same time with the Pleiades may actually, hold on one second. It may actually negate a lot of that negativity that I talked about up here. This is basically like, if we're looking at this from a global level, we're looking at two countries coming together, forming new partnerships, and maybe now this could be a bad thing. Maybe somebody's ganging up on somebody else. I don't know. But generally speaking, I would say this probably helps us a little bit. It's going to solve some issues. Okay, that's Uranus. Pluto. Where's Pluto, Nikki? Right between Capricorn and
right at the beginning of Capricorn. Yeah. I talked to a guy yesterday, and he was ex-military. And I was like, what do you think the United States is going to do this next year? And he's like, I think we should take Canada. He's like, if we took Canada, and if we got Canada, then we would be like, our borders would be set. And
take Canada. You can't even take America. Like America can't even.
I thought that was the most interesting thing. I was like, oh, do you really think that they're going to be like, yeah, America's better. Let's do what they do.
We can, okay, take Canada, but leave the Quebecois alone. We don't want them.
The Quebecois,
Yeah, please just
a Quebec.
be
Yeah, why
independent.
are we worried about Canada when we should be looking at like our, Mexican relationships,
Well, the
our
obvious answer
border.
is take Mexico. Duh.
Right?
Hello.
I mean, come on, they could come down to it. I mean, 1846, that was when, oh my God,
Look at you.
Neptune and Saturn were conjunct together. Yeah, in 89, it happened in the United States, second house, Sagittarius. So, like, we saw the fall of the Berlin Wall, and all of these other countries had all of these other things going on. I thought that was cool just to see, like, how our relationship with, Russia changed and all of that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Can you guys
I'm a
see
history buff.
the bi-wheel over here?
I can see your wheel.
Can I see it? Okay. Where did you guys go? I don't see anybody now. Oh, there it is. Okay.
We're here.
All right.
I
I don't know if you guys have questions in the chat. I apologize. I've been focused on other stuff. So Friar, have you picked up any questions in
There
here?
there are questions in the chat.
Do
Questions.
you want to throw one out? Do you got to
Yeah,
throw one out for us real
I
quick?
can chuck some questions around.
Let's just do one or two, and then we'll
All right.
look into this real quick.
No. So I've scrolled back like a responsible adult. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you're scrolling. Okay.
I'm scrolling. Words, phrases. No. Any questions?
I'm out of daiquiri, you guys. It's a bummer.
No, go get some more.
I'll be all right.
You need class.
Yeah.
There've been a couple people who asked for you to do their chart right now live.
Yeah, I can't do it right now. I definitely can't do that. Plus, I wouldn't want to pull up your birth information on the screen for everyone.
They have put their birth information in the chat.
Oh no!
You guys don't do that. That's never a good idea.
I don't know. I'm into witchy stuff, and I never really like to give just anybody my birth information.
Niki's gonna make.
I'm just a naturally suspicious person. Okay, I just was born suspicious. So
Friar, you can probably vouch for this since you're a resident occult scholar, but in like energetic circles, it's not always even good for people to know your name, because if somebody knows like your true name, then they got control. It's like having a big piece of your clump of your hair to do spells with. Would you concur?
By names and images are all powers awakened and reawakened. Also, you may have noticed that I'm not using my real name.
Right.
So yes.
Yes, I figured her mom didn't name you Friar Pesel. I figured.
Well, she pronounces it differently. Thanks, Mom. I'm looking for other questions, but I'm not.
No worries. Yeah. We'll keep going. If you find one that looks interesting, take a mental note or something, and then we'll take a look at it.
There's a lot of comments, like commentary, but not.
Okay. No specific questions. All right.
No. So look for you people and asking for your charts. I'll just go ahead and tell you your charts are like all Sattvic. Okay, it's all good. Krishna, it's like doing a dance on your chart, and it's amazing. You're not.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. I'd like to add a disclaimer too. If I'm right, I'm a genius. If I'm wrong, it's just satire. Okay, guys. I'm just a satire.
It's all fun games.
Well, me and Friar were talking, and I was like, okay, here we have all these UAPs coming out of the water, in and out of the ocean. Like, what if Godzilla is gonna fucking get loose? What if it's the chains and they're could have a Godzilla attack on the Jersey Shore?
That's when your tattoo Jesus comes down on his pterodactyl with dual wielding AR-15s to take out Godzilla. So it's all good.
That would just be so fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm ready for
that would just be so cool.
Ready for the alien invasion already. Let's just do
that. Right?
I don't really think they're going to invade. I'm not saying that. I think they've already been here. But.
And Kalki is kind of a far away. Kalki's not coming back anytime soon. So,
okay, Niki, what do you know offhand how accurate the United States' time of birth is? Do you know? Did they
Oh,
write it down?
super accurate. Yeah,
Okay.
it was taken down by astrologers, like 2 different astrologers
Okay. I
in
just wanted to make sure.
Philadelphia. So
Okay.
yeah, I
Gotcha.
trust it. I do. I trust it.
Okay, then we'll pull up the ascendant and everything.
Do you know what's crazy? That I was doing my little research, and on 9/11, we had Pluto on our ascendant, which is slow moving. It shouldn't mean anything, but that was like a really terrible time.
Yeah, it was
9/11.
for sure.
Yeah. It was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So don't worry, Pluto's far away from the ascendant now. So hopefully.
Yeah, but it's getting close to the south node and north
I
node.
know. I know.
Yeah, there's some stuff though that'll have to come up. That probably will suck a little bit, but we have a little while.
Yeah.
So if you guys are watching, I don't know if anybody out there knows how, and I know different astrologers do it differently, but the way I do a prediction, if we're doing an individual one-on-one reading, I run the planets through the entire year on this program. There's a way to do it. This is Janice. And let me see here, natal calculate. You can you put the internal chart here and then the outside chart on the outside, and we run through the whole, like your whole year and everything. So we can do it that way. But when it comes to like doing a bigger type of prediction, like a solar return is fantastic. And basically what's going on is the sun returns to the same spot in the sky, has nothing to do with the date specifically at the time that you were born. So like, as you can see, the solar return, because there's like a few hundred years here between like the birth date, it's deviated. The sun is actually, like, the birthday is on July 8th and not the 4th. So we take that and it creates a snapshot in the sky, and that energy, when you compare it to the natal chart, is going to resonate throughout the year. Now, it's not just throughout this year, it's throughout the previous year too. So you have like a 6 to 3 month window on either side of the solar return date, which means we're pretty much already, like, we're going to use this 2025 because we're already experiencing some of this stuff. I can tell you a few things offhand, and I'm just going to read this the way I normally would if I was reading like a person's chart. The moon, relatively close to the ascendant. It's not quite conjunct, but it is kind of close in there. Now, this ascendant, the United States' ascendant is in Scorpio. This is a powerful planet. It is a constellation of, depending on where we're looking at, anything from like physical hands-on healing to like advisement type of healing. If we're looking at the tail of the scorpion, now we're getting into more like decisiveness, military might, that type of thing. There's a lot going on here. But it's a powerful constellation. The moon's placement here gives the United States, it gives the United States the potential to actually get their shit together. I think this is a good thing. Now, is that going to happen? Are they going to negate it? I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now when I go through here and look. I'm just going to go through the conjunctions first. We do have this conjunction with the Imam Chele, thus it's going to be in opposition with the midheaven. Down here, conjunct with Neptune and Saturn at the same time. Now, this is a really big influence placement. When Neptune and Saturn get together, this becomes a lot about outreach, networking, like reaching a lot of people, especially either through technology or marketing. So this is going to have wide reach, but it's not all good. So the United States has to like dig down deep and get real with itself. Or this can come back to bite it. So like basically if this was the United States was a person and they've been doing a bunch of shady business for a really long time and like doing some corrupt stuff, this is the type of thing where it comes to the surface and people figure it out. So it could be good or bad. It's probably going to be both. It's a lot of lancing of the wounds and the injuries and getting that stuff out. We also have a close proximity in the sky between Ceres and the descendant. Now, this is a societal interaction here in Pisces. This year, in anyways, in particular, this is the people. So, if you guys don't know, Ceres and Vesta, I do use them in some of these like predictive charts. Namely, there are the 2 largest asteroids in the asteroid belt. They make a combined 1/3 of the entire mass of the asteroid belt. They're huge. Ceres has what they've discovered is like basically an ocean of water. It's not like all on the surface per se, but it's in there. Vesta has its own substrate. I think Ceres and Vesta have their own gravity. They were minor planets until the 60s. They absolutely have an impact. And the way that I got this information is I actually tracked them. I didn't just take what they were named and run with it. But anyways, I have found that Ceres is very similar to Libra. And here, with the descendant, it becomes societal in nature. Okay, it's tied up with like the material world, the people running around in it. Now here in Pisces, again, this is going to be more karmic, more spiritual. People are disassociating from the system. Okay, and we already see this. This is not a surprise. It's not any news. But this will continue to happen probably throughout the year, and this is probably going to be a really big issue. Now, the next thing we see, and again, they're not perfectly conjunct, but close enough in the sky to where they're having an influence. We have the vertex here. I'll pull up my anti-vertex too. Hold on. What am I doing? Outer planets, yes. And I want my anti-vertex here. Let's do it. All right. As you can see here, we have very close proximity between vertex in Vesta and vertex and Vesta in, or anti-vertex over here on the outside. Both of these are basically pulling in. This is, in my experience, Vesta is a health and wealth placement, okay? So like Niki said, we have new people coming in the administration who maybe might try to get like some of the health stuff situated. Financially, though, this is a time of reckoning, okay? It's make or break. I'm not saying this is a financial collapse. What I am saying is if they don't if the United States doesn't get it together, that it's coming up, okay? Like it's all about to, kind of fizzle and whatnot. As I said before, so this affects the entire year, even though, yes, there's a certain time period around midsummer where we get the conjunction between Venus and Uranus, where I think that they act very nice together. It also happens to be very close in the proximity of the sky. It's not quite the Uranus return, but very similar. I think this is a good thing. And again, this is not necessarily upheaval in my experience, but more making new friends, allies, coming to the table. This is really good for making peace deals. Here in Taurus, this is going to bring more listening and trying to be objective as opposed to doing like irrational, emotional stuff. So I think that's good. We also happen to have Jupiter return right around the same time period. This is a change year. Okay, they're not, and we can already see this, but if we didn't know anything about it, we can tell you this is lasting change that's going to affect everybody. And again, you guys, this is the United States solar return. I'm not doing every country on Earth because that would definitely take too long, and we kind of already glazed through the global stuff. Now, what is very interesting is this very close conjunction between transiting Uranus and the North Node, and thus the South Node. Now, this is Mercury is getting information. Okay, it's like that's the planet that I said if you watched it throughout the day, you would see when you're getting news, you're hearing your phone go off because you're getting messages. It's really bizarre. I swear to you, this happens. Okay, this is getting some news and information and insight, which is going to affect the country on a deeper level and on a spiritual level, and actually change the direction of everything. Okay. So I can't tell you because there's no disclosure planet. There's no, I can't tell you exactly what this new information is, but it's definitely a big shift. Okay. What else do we see in here? We have the ascendant this year conjunct with Saturn. This is, again, in this position, it's going to be a societal situation, very much related to health, wealth, particularly more on the financial side. Again, I don't see this being financial collapse just based on the conjunctions, but it is a time of reckoning. And if they don't get it together, all hell's going to break loose probably in the following year. And what's interesting is if you watch the solar returns from year to year, you'll actually see they tell a story and they flow very easily into one to the next. So let me go here. I'm going to pull out some of these conjunctions and just pick them apart real quick. Again, Uranus, partnership planet, sextile. And I don't work with anything less than a sextile, you guys. If it's like not in one of these major aspects, it's not really, it's like worthless to try to find it. Nobody has time. Well, maybe some people have time for that. I definitely don't. But this is, again, getting some new information, new partnership. This looks like a peace deal to me. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying world peace, okay? But this looks good. I also think the midheaven Imam Chayli, these aspects, obviously, because they're in opposition, you're going to get this trine and sextile as a result here with Venus. This is probably softening things up a little bit. I don't see this as a war trait. And as I said before, we have the conjunction, close proximity with our, in the main part of the chart with Uranus. So I think that this is more partnerships, more deals. And again, this looks good. Now, this potentially not, well, let me go. Yeah, I'll do this one first. Okay. So squares, even though I don't get behind the idea that any of the aspects are inherently good or negative, I have seen a correlation between squares creating challenges. These are challenges like going to the gym. Going to the gym is hard for a lot of people. When you're at the gym, you're working out, it's stress on your body, okay? But doing it gives you an immediate beneficial result. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword here. Yes, there's stress involved with the square, but if you face the challenge and you run with it, you end up getting like this positive result. Okay. Mars in this context very much acts like this is a stress placement, okay? A Mars square, we're going to get stress. We're going to get overthinking. We're going to get egos involved. This is definitely dealing with the partnerships. There's definitely some strain in here, okay? So even though I said, yes, this thing, peace deals, whatnot, probably also going to be burning some bridges, okay? So not great. Could this be, it doesn't show up like financial stress here. I'm going to say it's more like, civility and like working together or potentially causing more problems with someone else. We also have an opposition with Mars and Ceres. Now, oppositions are not bad. I can prove it to you right now. Okay, that anybody who's ever told you opposition is negative, I'm gonna debunk it right now. Okay. The moon is opposite the sun every single month, and that's what gives us the full moon. And that is the time when everybody reports that, people have more energy. They don't sleep as good, because they're just bounding with all this energy. There's nothing negative about this. This is just a different type of conjunction. And it just happens to be that the alignment is on either side of the planet. So nothing negative in here, but it's not quite as intense as a regular conjunction in my experience. Anyways, this is sensitivity though. Mars is a sensitivity planet, and it's gonna increase the sensitivity to Ceres. Now, even though I just got done on this big rant about this is not a negative thing, this could potentially be some, like the masses being very upset. And really either being taken for a ride, there could be lots of crying. I don't know exactly, but this actually is a little concerning. I can't say exactly because it's the solar return and it's not, we're looking at specific dates. We do have to be careful about is this a one-time event that happens during the year, or is it an overall energy? I would have to say it's probably more likely to be an overall energy, not discounting the stuff that we talked about earlier on the video. Jupiter conjunct with, we already talked about that, right? Jupiter, well, we kind of did, her in the sky at the same time. I think that this is a good thing. This is a creativity placement. This is good for the individual in particular. A little bit of this issues here with the moon square Uranus. This is, again, going to cause some turbulence with some of the United States' partnerships in particular. You guys, it's going to be a chaotic year, but not necessarily for you as an individual. You're probably going to get more of the same, whatever that's been. But like for the country at large, there's new deals being made, and there's a lot of ties that are being severed. So it's not always going to be comfortable for the United States. They're not getting out of this without, they're just not. But it's not all negative either. There's definitely some positives. There's new opportunities showing up. I don't see so far the stuff that people normally ask me about. They ask me about like financial collapse and war and whatnot. I don't see an actual hot war just based on this. I just don't. I haven't compared like Russia and America's charts to, it might show up in there, but based on everything that I've seen today, I just don't see it. I also don't see a global collapse, like financial collapse this year. There may be little blips in the maybe big blips in the market that probably level off relatively quickly. I wouldn't pull all my money out of anything if you have like stocks, or that's not the type that we're looking for, but there's definitely turbulence, but they seem to come. There's that early part of the spring, maybe even late winter, early spring, midsummer, and then a little bit in like the September timeframe. Nikki, do you have anything to add while I have this chart up?
No, my God, you hit like everything how I wanted to. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
particularly
Like,
you guys,
yeah.
I drink too much. I've like been
Oh my
chugging
God.
beverages. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Go for it. Friar, are you still there?
I'm still there.
Oh my God. What do you think? What is your prediction for
My
the
prediction
United
is
States
that,
this year?
I
I'm
think,
curious. What do you think?
well,
It's not. You don't think it's Godzilla? I don't think
Well,
it could. Yeah, I think it. And on the satire side, it's Godzilla. But
let's
what
hope.
do you think?
I predict, staring into my crystal ball, I think there's going to be disappointment, and it has zero to do with the chart, because people have put. I think this is the actual problem. People are putting way too much of their faith and their responsibility into politicians. It's all saviors. It's all, oh my God, if only the right person. I think the government is entirely too powerful. We shouldn't actually even worry about who's the president, because they should have so little power that it doesn't matter. Anyway, I think what's going to happen is, because people have put all this freaking power and energy into like their saviors coming into office, there's no way they can deliver in the way that these people want. It's not possible. The only modern politician I've seen who's actually been able to deliver in that way has been Javier Milei in Argentina. He actually ended their debt, which the first time
that was recently too, wasn't it? Where didn't he kick out all the gangs too?
First time in 138 years, Argentina does not have debt. So it is possible. However, I expect there to be a lot of grumpiness and infighting, because there's literally no way that like politician Jesus can fix every fucking thing. It's just not.
Yeah. You put it best. I don't ever put my words together eloquently like that. I'm just like, government bad.
Rebels good.
Rebels good. I get too excited. My brain moves too fast, and the words just go blah, blah, like they don't come out, and then I forget what I was talking about. So
that much I can.
But
that's my prognostication, if you will.
Yeah, disappointment. I think you might be right. I think we all want something really big to happen. I think we all want something to change. And I think that's just a reflection of how much all of us want things to change in our own lives, our own like little bubbles, little worlds.
So we're projecting.
It could be a little bit of that. It could be a little projection. It's a weird world we're living in right now, guys. It's really super weird.
It is, but I want to say I'm really grateful. Like, so we look back at 2024, okay, and we see all kind of wackadoo, right? Some not so great stuff, plenty of it on display. However, I'm going to emphasize here, in 2024, I made new friends, right? Niki and Abby. And that's been really great. I've started my practice. That's been really great. I've been hanging out with Bootsy, and I've been bringing on clients. And so 2024, when you really step back and look at it as a whole, there's been some great stuff that's happened for me personally that hadn't happened in a long time. So I'm quite grateful for that. And I'm just hoping that 2025 continues in that vein. And my theme for 2025 is going to be basically clear tabs, fuck the dumb shit, focus on your dharma, and let's do it.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to stay hydrated. I'm going to stay in my lane.
And I'm like, 2025 hydration.
Yeah, hydration. And I'm going to mind my own business, because that makes me so happy, just being like in my zone. And I'm going to build an ass that looks just like Hillary Duff's. Have you guys seen her?
You got to squat.
Oh my God. It's not squats, man. It's donkey kicks, I think. And she's got to be.
Those are good too. Squat. Nick, you got to squat.
I was doing squats, man. And I wasn't doing it right the last time. And I like hurt my back. I wasn't like engaging my core. I was like fucking half-assing it. So
Squat with a
now it's
corset.
donkey kicks. I'm doing donkey, a donkey kick it.
They'll get like a certain part of your glute, but and it's good. It'll round everything
Yeah.
off, but you gotta squat.
Yeah, I'll get back at it. Yeah. I want to build. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym this year, next year, this year.
This year.
It's this year, right? Yeah, it's
this
already
year.
this year. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna go to the gym. I don't like being around people that much. You know, you go to the gym and they're all looking at each other, and it's like,
Yeah.
There's like
I don't
nobody at the gym
know.
when I go. If you go during lunchtime, or not lunchtime, like between 2 and 4, there's not as many people there. You'll lift so much heavier and better. Your form will be so much better at the gym because you know people are looking at you. Like you'll do a better job.
You're
go.
probably
Go to the
right.
gym.
I'll have a lot of time to myself this next year, so I should probably join a gym or something. So yeah, I'm down with that. Get some Linda Hamilton arms, some Sarah
Yeah.
Connor ones,
Yeah.
in case without any knowledge of guns whatsoever, I have to pick one up and start killing like Terminators or something.
Yes, in which case the Linda Hamilton arms will definitely help you.
It'll come in handy. Yeah.
Yes. Do your one-handed shotgun racking. That's a good exercise.
Oh my God, I gotta practice that. I'll do that with the weights.
Dun 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 dun. Say,
That is so cool.
so you escaped the quiz, Nikki.
Oh, we don't have time for the quiz.
Oh, we'll get you next time. Nikki's you gotta do your own guest show.
That's true.
Oh, I don't have anything going on. That's awesome though. You know, everybody, all of our guests are like super cool and they have cool things going on, and like I am super cool, but I just don't really have a lot of really super cool things going on right now.
I'm checking my schedule to see the next opening for a guest spot. I think it's at the end of January. Okay, so there's not one on January 29th, and I'm writing you in right now, Nikki, as the guest. And that gives you 1 month to have some interesting stuff going on to talk about, which I'm sure you can.
God,
And to get your offerings straight.
I'm writing you in right now.
Oh, don't do it. I don't want to be the star.
It's done. It's done.
Stop. I don't know what I'm gonna even talk about. I guess I should talk about like my origin story.
That's it. Your villain arc. I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
You guys wouldn't even believe it. You wouldn't even believe it. You'd be like, you're full of shit. Like,
no, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So before we go,
it'll be good. It'll be good.
But before we go, I want to do something here that we don't do enough, which is I want Abby to tell the audience her offerings, like services. Tell us, because you don't do that. Like we know you do.
Do I not?
Not really. You don't like detail your services, and I think you're doing yourself a disservice, madam.
I mean, I give astrology readings.
What else?
I thought that like kind of was like assumed. I do astrology readings, and I have the ancient astrology course. I do have a live version. It's really expensive. It's a lot of weeks and it's in person. So, you know, it's expensive. That's why I have the recorded version, which you can download on my website. And then, God, you guys, that's mostly it. I don't do psychic readings anymore.
Okay.
Which I'm, excited about because they were sucking the life out of me. So that's pretty much it. You guys, I love astrology and that's what I do. So.
I just because I noticed that we weren't really talking about your offerings, and I thought that's not okay on your very own show. So,
well, I'll try to remember to throw that in at the beginning when I'm ranting about myself. Or I mean, doing the introduction. That's what we do. The introduction.
Right, but I just want people to know that you have plenty of things to offer, and they're great, and I want the world to benefit from your goodness.
Well, I put the ticker on so now people can see.
Yeah. I like that you offer other astrologers like help, that you can work one-on-one with you and just focus on certain things and, whatever it is they need to develop. So I like that it's not like, okay, no, we're going to start from scratch. And it's like, what do you know? And how can I help you?
I don't want to
tie it in.
Yeah, I don't want to go.
Yeah, it's awesome
to redo it. The one that I was talking about. So, and I was telling you, Nikki, before the call, because I would like to just at least do one day with you at some point. So I have this program. It's called the Astrological Alignment Program. And basically we look at your chart. So you take every week, we do usually a minimum of 4 to 5 weeks. One of those weeks we look at your natal chart and we go into it in detail because everything that you experience as an individual is going to be different from, Mars affects everybody differently. It does not like a cookie cutter experience. So it's important to know that stuff first. Then have you keep a loose journal of all the things that happen to you, and you write down the exact time, if at all possible, or get it like a pretty good idea. Then we go through at the end of the week and we look at those moments and we show you exactly what was happening in the sky at the time that triggered those experiences, those thoughts, those emotions, the fight that you had, or like the good, time you had with your friend. After you do that, you'll start to see those patterns. And by the time you're done with that course, not only have you basically mastered astrology because you know what all of the planets are doing, but you can pretty much do any type of personal prediction in your life because you know exactly how these interactions, the aspects are going to affect you. It's really cool. It's a live call, and I'm not the cheapest astrologer out there. So, but all my prices and all that stuff, I actually sell that on Etsy. It's listed. I don't think it's listed on my main site. I don't know, but yeah. So, I don't recommend it for everyone. I really only recommend the astrological alignment for people who really care about astrology, because otherwise, it is a lot of work. You got to track your days and everything, but it is cool.
See, we wouldn't have known about that offering.
I've talked about it before. It's on something. I sell it somewhere.
It's very specific. I love it.
Yeah.
It's on the internet. Find it.
It's somewhere out there. I do that too. I'm like, you can find me out there, guys. I'm everywhere. As I'm deleting every social media account I have, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to get away from that. Like being online 24/7, being everybody having access to you 24/7. I can't live like that anymore. I can't. I like that we're moving away from that collectively. That's awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
hi Roxanne. Hi Double J. Hi Lorna. Hi Malia. Hi Kiki.
Lorna. Hey guys.
Who else?
Oh my god.
Deep Chica, hello. Rainstorm Hunter, hey. Everybody's on here today. You guys were kicking ass today. I was definitely not paying attention, and I'm so sorry.
Hello, Rainstorm Hunter. Hello, Coco.
Yeah. Thanks, Double J. I had my medicinal daiquiris this evening, and I had finished them. So I honestly think that's why I wasn't just coughing uncontrollably the whole time. So,
right. Medicine.
Yeah. Hey, that's what they used to do, for that's thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. When you got ghosts in your blood, do some cocaine about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe chew on some cocoa leaves or whatever. I don't think they did the whole extraction where you mix it with battery acid and do all that. But let's come up with some solutions. That's if you read the Sumerian medicinal tablets and texts and stuff that they have, a lot of it's take beer and rub beer on it, or drink this beer with this, or you got to get this beer with this special type of herb, and if when in doubt, rub more beer on it. Beer.
Oh my god. Yeah, I have a book on Magick and cannabis and the use of cannabis and all of these other herbs and stuff in witchcraft and in the occult and in the churches, and it's really interesting. Actually, Saturn is the planet for cannabis. Saturn.
Is it?
Yeah. I was just as shocked as everybody else. I was like, you think it would have been, I don't know, maybe Mercury or Jupiter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Saturn. Saturn's so responsible. He's the demon slayer. How is he supposed to?
That's right, like Buffy.
Yeah, I don't know that I could pick I would probably pick Pluto, some psychedelic planet, or I probably wouldn't pick Saturn.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's based off of. Well, actually, it's based off of history, so I don't know, Gregor Morse and all that other stuff. So I don't know. It's just some cool shit I read.
Well, right. I've moved from the Ravenclaw common room to Blade Runner 2049. So
yeah, what's up with your background? I don't see it.
Well, I may have made a mistake.
Oh. Okay.
But you know, I'm digging this Blade Runner 2049 groove right now. So
Okay.
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excited. Well, we could probably let everybody go. Who do we got next week? Let me check my
Who do
thing
we
real
got?
quick, you guys. Who's on the chopping block for what is it? Oh, my mom is, yes, Chrissy's coming
Chrissy,
on.
oh my God, she's got
Yes.
some cool stories. Oh my God, yeah.
Yes, and she is an like a UFO aliens junkie. Like she knows all of the stuff, you guys. She's literally, she did Dr. Stephen Greer's what is it called? His CE5 or whatever program where he teaches you how to meditate and contact extraterrestrials, and she did. And she got a video. It's not great because it's like dark out and she's walking with her phone. It's definitely the worst video. I know what she was looking at though, because like it happened in the house that I used to live in. So like I know like exactly what I'm looking at, but like to the
Right.
average person, you're not gonna be able to tell. But anyways, she said I'm gonna make her talk about the UFOs and the aliens. She's
Yes.
definitely coming on to talk about that. But she's also a super medium. She finds bodies, you guys. I'm not going to go into it too much detail, and I'm not going to make her do it either because it's like really personal stuff, and like I don't want her. I don't want to call her out, but like she's worked with the police and the FBI and whatnot. So yeah, so that's going to be fun. So if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit like because that helps other people find the video too. And we'll be here next week, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I should be here.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
should be.
I think your mom's gonna be doing her show while riding the Harley. Is that right?
I hope not. But you never know.
With
That is
Steve
a
on the back.
possibility.
Yeah, it's
That
gonna
is,
Yeah.
yeah, that is. She's moved. Demon Steve, you guys, who lives in the house. He's a shadow person. But my mom's moving, and I haven't asked her. We'll have to ask her next week. Like, did you tell Demon Steve? Does he know? Like, have you warned him that he's getting new tenants? So that'll be interesting too.
So
yeah.
also, January, I should be on our friend of the show, Pixie Dust and Spirit Alchemy's channel. So
Oh, that's exciting.
Nice.
yeah, little guest appearance over there.
Yeah, she's awesome. I like her.
She is awesome. She's good peeps, friend of the show.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, so that's probably good. You guys, Happy New Year to everyone out there. I am praying for all of you and sending love and joy and blessings. And I hope that this is your best year ever. So yeah. You too, Niki and Friar, obviously.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
too.
You too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
now you can rest. You can lay it down, I guess.
Yes. Go get some rest.
Yep. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Salima.
Salima.
Bye.
Bye.